and I'm launching.
Thank you, Vero.
No problem.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our virtual webinar, where we will be discussing financial planning for incoming law students. It will be presented by me, Kevin Nilsson. I'm the financial aid advisor at the University of Ottawa for the Faculty of Law Common Law section. And I am joined by Rashid Beydoun from Scotiabank, who will be presenting just information about banking solutions for financial planning. We will just wait a few minutes just to make sure that everyone's joined the webinar. We are really excited to have you and to share this knowledge with everyone who's incoming. So just be comfy, and we will start in about 2 minutes, just to make sure that everyone's really inside the webinar. We will have a Q&A after our presentation. The Q&A will be available through written comments. So you can ask your questions at any time during the presentation, and we will be answering your questions at the end once the presentation is complete. All right, so people are joining in. And so again, just sharing, you have the Q&A box where you can input your questions at any time during the webinar. We will be answering the questions at the end of the presentation. And we will also be sharing the resources with students through Brightspace. So you'll have access to the documentation, the links, emails, and all of that contact information. All right, just a few more minutes. I've set the goal of 35 participants before I start. So we'll just wait a few more seconds just to get as many people in before we start. All right, let's start the information session. So again, my name is Kevin Nilsson. I am the financial advisor at the Faculty of Law, specifically for Common Law section. So I'm dedicated to all students from 1L to 3L that is participating in the JD program. So our webinar today will be about financial planning. It will be presented by me and Rashid Beydoun from Scotiabank, who will be sharing information about financial banking. And we will be joined by Miriam also from Scotiabank for the Q&A section. So without further waiting, we will continue. So on the agenda today for the webinar, I will be going over general details about scholarships and bursaries, OSAP funding, the various resources on campus, and the why and how to book appointments with me throughout the year. And then I will pass the mic over to Rashid, who will be discussing how to manage funds, credit cards, professional student lines of credit, and that's valuable information about banking. So scholarships and bursaries, they are the internal tool used at University of Ottawa They're application-based, so it's important that you take the time to really go through the criteria and see if you're eligible to apply for the scholarship first. You can do so by filtering out awards that you're not eligible for by completing a student profile. If you haven't done this already during the admission process, the current scholarships and bursary programs for the fall are open right now until October 31st. So you would go into your UOzone account under applications and then online scholarships and bursaries. From there, on the right-hand corner, you will see your name. If you click on that, you will have access to your student profile. So the information that you input in your student profile is what's going to determine which scholarship and bursary you're eligible for. So for example, if you're interested in research, if you're an Ontario resident, if you have a reduced course load as well, it would be important to update your student profile so that you don't miss out on any opportunities throughout the year. So as I stated, they are application-based, so they require oftentimes a CV or a resume and the financial questionnaire. So those are the two documents that most scholarships will require as a base. Some will require to upload a letter of recommendation or a letter of reference. So I definitely recommend to browse the list as early as possible. The deadline, again, is October 31st. So if you go through the list early, you'll have time to accumulate your letters of reference or recommendation, and then submit the applications. You will not be able to upload your own personal resume. There is a template to complete, and you can save as many templates as you want. This is good in the sense that you can really target or focus on one area. So if you're applying for, let's say, sports-related scholarships or scholarships pertaining to social justice, you can tailor your resume to really focus on one area and then save as many templates as necessary and then attach them to your applications. That's definitely what I recommend. Just through the years of working through financial aid, when you have a very specific resume that's specific to a scholarship or bursary, it gives you more room to enter more information. And that's what the donors like to see. For the financial questionnaire, it is a tool online in UOzone that you must complete in order to apply for scholarships and bursary that require financial need. That's how we determine your financial need for the year. You just have to complete it once, and then you attach it to each of your applications, and you can update the financial questionnaire throughout the year. So if your rent increase, or if your wages decrease, or if you have a sudden expense, you can always go back to your financial questionnaire and update it. And that's what's going to be reflected when we review your applications. Important dates and deadlines. As stated, the fall competitions are already open and they close on October 31st. There is no exceptions to the deadlines. This is imposed by Central. So it's important to get all of your applications in before. If you have any questions about the application process or if you're having issues, please contact me. And lastly, Ontario residency. You will see a lot of scholarships and bursaries that require this. Ontario residency is not as simple as just living in Ontario. You need to meet the OSAP requirements of Ontario residency, which means either you've lived in Ontario your whole life, or Ontario is the last province in which you resided for 12 consecutive months without being a full-time student. So if you don't meet that requirement of OSAP, you won't be able to apply for those scholarships and bursaries. And lastly, yes, if you have any specific questions about these online scholarships and bursaries tool in regards to the system, or if you have trouble logging in, if you don't see an award, if it's not being posted, then you would have to contact directly Central Financial Aid, who will be able to assist you with that. Next is OSAP, which is the Ontario Student Assistance Program. This is eligible for students who meet the Ontario residency under OSAP rules. again, which is either you've resided in Ontario your whole life, or Ontario is the last province in which you've resided for 12 consecutive months without being a full-time student. OSAP is a shared responsibility. So it's important that you review your application, make sure that the required documents are all submitted on time. If you see anything odd, or if you uploaded a document and it still says that you need to upload it, any type of issues like that, you would have to discuss directly with Central Financial Aid again. They're the ones who manage OSAP applications. There are appeals available, so I do recommend that you review the appeals section on the OSAP website. You will see that under forms. Again, if you have a decrease in income or an increase in rent, there are appeals available. Again, if you have any questions about that, it would be with Central Financial Aid. The deadline to apply for OSAP for fall only is October 19th. And the deadline to apply for both winter and fall, or winter only, is February 24th. Naturally, if you do have just general questions or you're not sure who to communicate with, as there is a lot of people involved with OSAP, don't hesitate to communicate with me and I'll be able to guide you to the appropriate service. If you have not already applied for OSAP, I recommend submitting your application as soon as possible. There are 6 to 8 week delays in processing applications, and usually those are the ones that don't require supporting document. So it's important that you submit that as soon as possible if you rely on OSAP to help cover tuition. Also, I wanted to discuss with you resources on campus. These aren't direct forms of financial aid, but they can help alleviate certain burdens in one area or the other. So first and foremost, just know that we have a Central Financial Aid and Awards Service located at the Desmarais building at 55 Laurier, 3rd floor. They would be your central point for anything OSAP related or any issues with like any technical issues with the various systems. They have counselors on place that are there to assist you. We also have the University of Ottawa Student Union Food Bank located at University Centre. They are affiliated with the Ottawa Food Bank, but they are two separate entities. So definitely, if you're having food insecurities or if you're struggling through a month, definitely go and see how they can assist you. They have various opening hours. I believe it's Tuesday to Thursday. So just definitely go and take a look when you're on campus to see the opening hours. We also have the Free Store, which is located next to our building at Thomas More. The Free Store is an exchange program. You can come and bring some items, collect some items. There's clothing, school supplies. They do have some home, like small appliances or like dishes and stuff like that that can help out. And then there's also the health and wellness. So having a good sense of being and being well within yourself can help sometimes reduce other stress, like financial stress. So just know that there is a health and wellness center on campus that is dedicated to helping you with any stress factors. Also, I am available for appointments. Usually it's Thursdays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Obviously, I'm very flexible. I understand that some people have full-time jobs, children, other responsibilities that might limit your availability. If you are not available for appointments on this day, just send me an email and we can decide on an appropriate time. Appointments are in person or virtual, and you would book the appointment via The Source. If you're not already familiar with The Source, it is an internal system used to obtain information, book appointments with various personnel. So definitely book an appointment and we can chat and see how I can help. Usually appointments are booked for emergency funding. So if you are experiencing an urgent situation, if you were the victim of theft or a natural disaster, any type of financial stress that's just burdening you, please book an appointment so we can discuss. And also, we do put a lot of focus moving forward on food insecurity. So if you are experiencing that, please don't hesitate or don't be nervous to reach out. I'm there to help you with that. So that concludes my portion of the financial planning. Again, I will be sharing all the resources with you through Brightspace, my email, all of the contact information for all the different services. So if you do have any questions, don't hesitate to follow up. And now I will pass the mic to Rashid, who will be going over banking information, and then we'll be back for the Q&A. Thank you.
Just a moment. Just a moment. Hi, Kevin. First of all, I would like to start by thanking you for giving me the chance to be part of this orientation session. Can you see my screen? Is it clear?
Yes, I can see your screen. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Thank you for giving us the chance to be part of this orientation session. As said, today we are going to explain some basic banking terminology and give you some insight for your future financing decisions. About ourselves, Miriam Awad, she's the branch manager at Rideau and Williams branch. She's as well group saving plan dealer representative. And myself, Rashid Baidoun, a small business advisor at Scotiabank, Rideau and Williams. My key responsibilities are to assist the clients with their financial needs and providing advices on banking products and helping in managing them to grow their finances. You can reach us if needed on our emails listed below. So to start with, we all know the high tuition for law schools. So managing your financials can be stressful, can be really stressful. So you need some boost at some point. So you deserve, from the first point, to have a specialized advice to answer all your questions and to help you navigate these important chapters in your career. And then once graduating, to the next stage of your career, you need to you are introduced to new financials and new considerations. So finding the right balance between managing your debts, saving for your first home, or planning to possibly start your first practice can be so complex. And this is why we are here today, to give you some insight about that. So the importance of financial planning. It's so important to manage your finances effectively because this can reduce stress, first of all, and it will help you avoid debts and help you in achieving academic and personal goals. So, setting financial goals can be for short term, like if you want to pay for your laptop or for any small investments, and it can be for long term goals like repaying your student loan or getting your home. So, we start by managing the finances. To manage your finances, you need to start by doing some budgeting. So the ABCs for budgeting is to know your income. Your income should include like scholarships, your part-time job if you have, or the financial aids, or any family aids, or any sort of income. You need to list your income to know what to expect every month. Then comes your expenses. So you need to write down in a way your monthly expenses like rent, utilities, your groceries payment, transportation, and the entertainment. Mainly the entertainment are the basic thing that you need to pay monthly. You need to allow some funds for that as well. How to do that? There's many ways. First of all, you can use your online banking platform, let's say Scotia or any other bank. We have something called Advise Plus from our side, so you can log onto your online banking and see your customized advice that suits your financials, or you can do your own spreading your own Excel sheet mentioning your income, your expenses, in order to know what's the netting at the end you need to have for yourself, like a saving or anything like that. So tracking your expenses is so crucial. Once you did your budgeting, you need to regularly review your spending habits. And if you can do some cost cutting, it's better to do it so you can monitor yourself over the months what you can remove and what's crucial to keep. And it's important to have an emergency fund. What's about that? It's like you need to keep like 6 months spare money aside for the worst case situation whenever you don't have any resources or income. So you need to have like spare money that will lead you for 6 remaining months to have. Now it's time to talk about the type of financial instruments. At the bank, these are the foundation of the banks. You have usually the current account. This is the most required thing to have at the bank. The purpose of having a current account is to use for the day-to-day transactions, like paying your bills, shopping, like receiving deposits, and do some transfers. It's like your day-to-day money pocket you need to spend. How to use your current account? You can use it through your debit card, like the debit card you usually use for purchases, or through online banking to do the transfers. And some current accounts come with overdraft facility. Is based on approval, definitely. So for low student, usually there's the current accounts comes with perk like no monthly fees, unlimited transactions, and benefits from tailored solution for students. Now the second part is the saving account. What's the benefit of getting a saving account is if you have some spare money saved, so you can get interest on them. It's a good place to save them, so it's safe to store the money at the bank, and you have access to liquidity for emergency. The benefits of having what types of current saving account? We have regular saving account, we have other saving account with high interest rate, and then we have a tax-free account, and the list is big. You can ask for it and it's available. So tips to get your saving account, to have your saving account: usually take your saving from the beginning before paying your expenses. So once you have your income, directly remove your amount to spare and then start paying your expenses. Otherwise, you will not be able to have any saving if you keep it at the end. Now we'll talk about the lines of credit. It's another financial instrument. The lines of credit is a flexible loan from a financial institution like banks that allows you to borrow up to a certain limit. There's two ways of line of credit. The first one is secured, means backed by collateral, like home equity line of credit, or backed with something tangible. And the other type of line of credit comes unsecured, means it's not backed by any collateral. So the best tips to give, For reasonable borrowing, only borrow what you need and understand the term and negotiate the interest is negotiable and have a repayment plan. That being said, if your repayment plan is big or the amount cannot be paid, so it's better to go for a lower line of credit. So you need to negotiate or you need to do your planning to be able to pay and repay your loan. The other type of loans is the credit card. The standard credit card allows you to have a revolving balance up to a certain credit limit. We all have credit cards. The majority of us had credit cards. The difference between the line of credit and the credit card is that the credit card comes in a plastic form. You can use it to make purchases, and you can do some finances. You can finance charge and update. So you can, okay, I'll give you an example about the credit card. So a tangible example. So usually it comes like, let's say, limit of 10,000. If you purchased $1,000, you owe to the bank $1,000. Two options of repayment. The first one, you pay it in full, and then no dues are for the bank, or you have installment. Only charges and interest are applied for the used balance. And usually the credit card for student are for low student is for free, and this is the benefit, the main benefit of that. We'll go more into details about that. Now we're going to talk about the banking solutions for low student. The majority of banks has tailored solution for low student. What I mean by tailored solution means it comes with reduced fees and it comes with a preferred banking package, and the products are designed to help students managing their finances effectively. At Scotiabank, we have our own way of boosting your finances. So we offer tailored financial advices, online tools, and resources built with the need of professionals. So the first and most important part of our solution is the Scotia Professional Student Line of Credit. So this line of credit helps you to finance your education. As said before, the tuition is high, so you need a boost at some point. So the financing your education comes at the prime rate, which is today at around 6.75 plus 0%. For ordinary people, usually who's not student or low student, it's like prime plus 4 plus 5, whatever. So for you, the promotion is plus 0%. And the most important thing is no payments is required while you are in school or during articling, plus another 2 years of grace period. So no repayment is due during all that time. And as well, there is no monthly or annual fees for that. Now we're going to talk about the preferred package, the current account in other terms. So there is no monthly account fees. The fees are waived for your student terms in 2 years in the grace period. And there is unlimited debit transaction and unlimited e-transfers transaction. And you can earn additional interest savings for specific accounts, and you can earn points on your everyday purchases like groceries and everything. So you can, while spending, you can earn some points. And we have another term as well, which is the credit card. We have like all banks, we have like types of credit card. At Scotia, we offer up to $10,000 credit cards. We have 2 credit cards. In summary, the credit card we offer comes with no annual fees, no foreign transaction fees on foreign currency purchases, and it comes with comprehensive insurance. And the preferred annual rate is for 20.99 on purchases and 22.99 on cash advances. This is yearly. So what are the cards we offer? The first one is Scotia Passport Visa Infinite. So it's based on your lifestyle spending. So if you are more into travel, it's better to take this type of card, which is more into travel lounges, these things. So the card is Passport Visa Infinite. It's best for students and professionals who travel frequently, especially internationally, and want to avoid foreign transaction fees while earning travel reward. So as said, it gives you airport lounges access, and you can earn points and rewards while spending. So 2 points for your everyday purchases, like dining, entertaining, and day-to-day transaction. The other card is the Scotia Gold American Express. This is ideal for students who spend significantly on groceries, dining, and entertaining, and wants to maximize their reward with no foreign transaction fees. This gives you more rewards, 6 times Scenes Plus points on every dollar spent on dining, entertaining, and 3 points on gas, and so on and so forth. It's detailed. And you can redeem your points for travel, merchandise, and gift cards. In conclusion, we're gonna recap what we said. It's so important to have your budgeting and to manage your expenses. Responsible use of financial instruments like credit card and line of credit. It's so crucial to have them start from now to start building your score, but treat them responsibly because it's like double-edged blade. So you need to know how to use them and explore your scholarship and government loans for funding for to pay your tuition, as well as the way you can fund your tuitions, as said before. And the final tips: start planning early to build your credit score. Seek advice from the financial advisor or the bank, like myself or Miriam, and stay informed and proactive about managing your finances. It was a short presentation, like an introduction for the main terminology of the banking, the main product we have. Please feel free to ask your question. If you have other questions that we didn't cover in this, please feel free. We are ready, myself and Miriam, to answer all your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Rashid. That was very informative, and to kind of piggyback on your presentation, it's important also for students to be alert and aware. So if you do see a downward trend in your finance, definitely reach out before you arrive at a crisis. We can help you find the resources to just like realign yourself on your financial goals. So with the presentation over, we will be starting the Q&A. You can write your questions in the Q&A box. You can select an anonymous status if you prefer to keep your question anonymous. And once your question has been answered, everyone in attendance will be able to see the question. So right now, questions aren't posted. Once it's answered, then you will be able to see the question for everyone. So I'll start. The first question is for me. So the question is, are there entrance scholarships for common law students based on grades, like the ones for entrance awards with undergrad, with thresholds like 80% and above? So the faculty does have entrance scholarships for common law students based on average. Unfortunately, it's not the same kind of program for undergrad students. When you arrive as an undergrad for the very first time at the university, there is no limit. So anyone who is eligible will receive an entrance scholarship. At the professional level, it is different. We don't have unlimited awards. So all of the entrance scholarships that do not require an application have been selected. However, it can always change if a student withdraws, goes to part-time, or defers their admission, then we offer the scholarship to the next person in line. So it's still ongoing, but it's not something that should be factored into budgeting, just because it's not a guaranteed source of funding. And it's, like I said, it's ongoing and dependent on the next month as to what's going to happen with registration. So definitely keep an eye out on that. As I did mention earlier in the presentation, though, scholarships and bursaries for registered students is currently open. So definitely go take a look at to what you're eligible for and start applying for the awards. The next question would be for Rashid and Miriam. The question is, can you explain credit score? How does it work with a professional line of credit?
So I'm gonna take this this question. Usually when it comes to credit score, it should include all your credit as well as your bill payments. So if you have credit cards or bills that you have to do, if you're doing the payments on time or before 3 days in advance, that's gonna help you to increase your credit score. When it comes to the professional line of credit, as we mentioned, there is no payment required, so it's not going to affect your credit score as it's a credit showing on your credit report, but it's not going to affect you because there is no payment due. Once the payment should start, then you have to make sure you're doing your payment on time to avoid having a decrease within your credit score.
Thank you, Miriam. I hope that answered the question. If you do require more information, you could just add a secondary question to the group box. The next question also for Rashid and Miriam. Can you negotiate to decrease the interest below the prime rate for Scotiabank?
So for the interest rate on the professional line of credit, it's a special rate for the law student. So usually we can negotiate the prime, we can negotiate the interest rate offered by Scotiabank, which is 0 for now.
Thank you, Miriam. Again, if the answer wasn't sorry, if you still have more questions about this, don't hesitate to include it in the Q&A box. Next question would be for me. In the financial questionnaire in UOzone, I recall having to report our personal financial assets and liabilities. Will the amount of assets we have make us ineligible for certain bursaries? The way the financial questionnaire works, it does ask for certain assets, but it wouldn't be generalized like that. So they do ask for income, savings, if your spouse has income or if your spouse has government financial aid, assets as such, but we would not be asking for any physical assets. So if you own property, if you have retirement savings plans and stuff like that, that's not included in the financial questionnaire. It's important to note that your OSAP funding is considered an income. It's not considered a liability or something that you would make payments on. So it is considered as a form of income or revenue. And the way that it has an impact on your financial questionnaire is in your favor, because when we look at the financial questionnaire, we don't just look at a deficit. If you're demonstrating a deficit, it's an overall portrait. Is your financial questionnaire sustainable for the year? That's what we look at. So my recommendation would be to, although you don't have access to the financial questionnaire results, I definitely recommend to try to balance it out as best as possible. That's always a plus for us when reviewing your financial questionnaire. But a professional line of credit is not included in the financial questionnaire. So it does ask for it. How much is your limit? How much is available? And how much you've used up so far? And that's for internal purposes in very rare cases, but it's not factored into the results of your financial questionnaire. Hopefully this answered your question. If you do need more information, don't hesitate to follow up in the Q&A box. Next question, again for me, how are entrance awards determined? That's a very vague question in the sense that there's so many different entrance awards. Some are based on average, and so all of the awards that require what we deem academic excellence is really a top-down list. So we look at the LSAT scores, average, and it's really going from the highest average down. And the awards are distributed fairly in that sense. So if you have received one award, we will then go to the next student to offer them an award as well. Those are for the automatic one. We also had entrance award competitions, which closed on May 1st. Those awards are determined by various selection committees that range from professors to lawyers to people within the community. And that is determined at their discretion based on the criteria that are listed when you apply for the award. Next question from Colin Lamb for Scotiabank. Can you please list the credit card options available for students again? Thank you.
Yeah, I'll answer that. So as said before, we have two cards available at Scotia for this plan. It's a combination. The combination of the two cards should be maximum at $10,000. The first one is the Scotiabank Passport Visa Infinite card. That card is mainly designated for student who travels a lot, so you can have access to lounges and anything like for foreign transaction. And the second card is the Scotiabank Gold American Express, who has more requirement for spendings here, dining, or like regular purchases here, like locally in the town. So the two cards are Scotiabank Passport Visa Infinite for traveling mainly, and the other one is Scotiabank Gold American Express.
Thank you, Rashid. So next question, anonymous. When can we get access to our student healthcare insurance? That's a good question. I'm not familiar with that. Student healthcare is a central service. I would recommend reaching out to either the student union or info service in regards to healthcare. I know that you can opt out of healthcare if you have your own private healthcare under you, your spouse, or your parents, but you have to demonstrate eligibility. And to opt out, you go through the student union portal, the website. But in regards to starting, like when does the access start? Unfortunately, I do not have that information. I would revert you back to the student union who are responsible for healthcare insurance. Next question, anonymous. I genuinely need financial aid. I have not received any financial aid. Would it be possible to receive one before school starts or for an appeal? Yes, the way financial aid is broken down at our level, it's really a three-parter. So you have government financial aid, such as OSAP, scholarships and bursaries, and then what we call like student responsibility, savings, a student line of credit, family aid, and stuff like that. Obviously, without having access to your file, it's hard to determine why there is no financial aid, as you should at least have one of those three branches there covered. So what I would recommend, I believe my colleague put in my email in the chat. What I would recommend is to send me an email so that we can review your file and see why no financial aid was offered. There could be a multitude of reasons, and it would be best with a file review. So definitely reach out. My email will be posted in the chat. Next question for Scotia. if we have a professional line of credit, does that, oh, no, sorry, that would be for me. I only read the first part. If we have a professional line of credit, does that make us less likely to get scholarships? No, it has no impact. Because of the self-awareness, that professional schools are expensive. And most of the time, students come with, like I said, already existing debts and responsibility, mortgage, families, etc. So we do ask for your student line of credit information in the financial questionnaire, but it's not used to calculate your financial need. Like I said, that's more for when there's an internal review for emergency funding. We get to see that information, but for overall scholarships, there is no impact. So it's not, it doesn't have a negative impact, no. Okay, so next question would be for Scotia. I think you've already answered this. It's possible that it's different. Does using your line of credit affect your credit utilization factor that affects your credit score? For example, if I want to keep my total credit utilization below 5% each month.
So usually, yes, it does. The utilization factor usually recommend to be below 30%, not more than that. It's gonna affect the credit that you can get from another financial institution if you're trying to apply for another credit. But it doesn't mean it's gonna lower your credit score if you're managing your payment on time and making sure that you're doing all your due payment.
Thank you, Miriam. Again, if you require more information, don't hesitate to add it to the Q&A box. All right, next question. What can increase a person's likelihood of receiving financial aid? I'll answer that in regards to scholarships and bursaries. What can increase your chance of receiving a scholarship or a bursary is a complete and targeted application. So what I mean by that is that when we send out all of the applications to the review committees, oftentimes you're competing with either a wide pool of candidates or a very specific pool of candidates. And in both cases, a very detailed resume and a detailed letter of reference or letter of motivation, whichever is required, will make your application stand out. Also, it's important to name the award in your letter. This is something that is reviewed a lot by the different committees. Having the name of the award directly in the letter states your intent and shows that there was a very specific intent when applying to this award. And it's not just like a general letter. It can include maybe a little bit more work to add the name of the scholarship. What I recommend if you do plan, because you'll see that there's a lot of scholarships that require the same kind of letter. So if you're looking at like social justice awards or tax law awards, there's nothing wrong with using the same letter. What I would maybe recommend is to have like title on top, and then you could just change the name of the award and attach the letter. It just shows intent, and it shows to the selection committee that there was a reason for applying for this award. That would be the main suggestion I make. And just to return back to what I was stating about the CV template or the resume template, try to build different resumes based on the specific needs of the award. So if it's for social justice, if it's for community service, put more focus in that CV on that aspect. It will stand out and demonstrate that there's an intent there when applying. Great question, by the way. And I'm also available for that. If ever you do have questions about an application, don't hesitate to reach out, book an appointment, send an email. It will be my pleasure to guide with that. Next question for Scotia. Is interest on your line of credit compounded daily or monthly? Interest on interest.
So on the line of credit is daily, on the credit card it's monthly.
Thank you. I do have a student asking for clarification about the student union who's responsible for common law student health insurance. To my understanding, it's the same union. It's the University of Ottawa Student Union, UOSU. I will put the website in the chat. Oh, no, that was not for everyone. So I placed the link in the chat for UOSU. To my understanding, they represent all undergrad students. That's where the wording can sometimes cause confusion. Common law students are considered undergrad. So JD students are considered undergrad, even though it's a professional program. So within undergrads, you have direct entry faculties, arts, science, social science, and then you have professional programs, education, medicine, and common law. But you're represented, from my understanding, by the same student union. All right, next question. Do we need to include our parents' income in the financial questionnaire? No. Great question. The financial questionnaire only includes information about you or your spouse if you're in a common law relationship or married, but they will not be asking about parents' income. Technically, it shouldn't ask for it either in OSAP. OSAP considers you independent at the federal level after 4 years out of high school and 6 years out of high school for the provincial level. So when entering law, oftentimes you'll be considered independent at the federal. You might still be considered dependent at the provincial. But in terms of the financial questionnaire, we don't look in either case at parents' income, but we do ask for parental contribution. So if your parents are helping out with paying the rent, paying tuition, it's best to include that in your financial questionnaire, just so that we have a picture of where your revenues are coming from. All right, next question. Can your CGPA help your chances at financial aid? And if you do not have a very great but mid LSAT? Yes, so some awards will be determined by CGPA and it will be written in the criteria. Very rarely is there a specific CGPA listed unless there's a renewal. So if the scholarship or bursary that you're applying for states that it's renewable, it will state there what is the required CGPA. Usually in law, you're looking at a minimum of 6 or 7 of a CGPA in order to renew. In all cases where it states that you must be in good academic standing, it means as long as you're not on academic probation set by the faculty, you're eligible for that award. Next question for Scotia. Interest on professional line of credit only accumulates on money you use from the maximum amount, correct? And is the interest applied on a monthly basis to the money you have used? So 6.75% per month on the money you used?
So of course, it's accumulated on the money you use, but it's calculated daily, not monthly. So you have to do the calculation, the amount that you're using times the interest rate, and you have to divide it per day. So it's gonna be calculated daily for the line of credit. When it comes to monthly, it's the credit card. As well, it's on the balance that you're gonna be using out of the credit card.
Thank
Just
you, Miriam.
to add on what Miriam said,
Yep.
the rate is prime, so it's not 6.75. So it's changing based on the prime changes.
Thank you. Next question. If you have received an award through the scholarship and bursaries already, does that affect you not getting any more? Great question. It does not. In the sense that when we do the distribution of scholarships and bursaries at the admission level, yes, we do try to select as many students as possible. So if there's 4 awards that are based on having the highest grades, obviously the 4 awards won't be going to just one student. It will be distributed through the pool of students who meet the criteria, but it does not have an impact on following awards. And even during the award process, once you are registered, one award won't impact another. And the reason for that is that when you're applying for awards, once you're registered, it becomes a decision from the selection committees and the donors, and they do not have access to anything other than the applications in front of them. So if you're selected for one award by one selection committee and a different selection committee selects you for a different award, you're not, it doesn't render you ineligible. You are eligible for receiving both awards. So it's important that you apply for as many scholarships and bursaries that you're eligible for. There is no impact there on receiving multiple awards. Next question, we have 5 minutes left. So if ever we don't get around to answering all of the questions, I'll stay in the chat and be able to answer as many as I can. Next question, are all scholarships already determined on UOZone financial aid and bursary? All the ones I applied to still say under review for almost 5 months now. The scholarships and bursary closed on May 1st, and then they're distributed to the various selection committees who have up to 3 months to select recipients, which leads us to about July 31st. We have received all of the recipients from the different selection committee. Unfortunately, it's a lengthy process. There's a lot of people involved. All of the information has been sent out, but it can take time maybe on the administrative side to enter the information in the portal. But if you have received a scholarship or bursary, you have already been notified by email. So at this point, I can confidently say that all scholarships and bursaries that require an application, recipients have already been communicated. Again, it's possible that someone refuses the award or withdraws or defers. So it's always technically ongoing, but the first round of offers has already been sent out. Next question, for awards that ask us to demonstrate interest in a specific area of law, as students who have not fully learned the law yet, how can we demonstrate a genuine interest? Great question. One of the ways is through either extracurricular activities, moots, if you've interned, if you had maybe a startup business, there's other ways to demonstrate interest in a specific area of law in a way that you can describe what pushed you to register to law school, right? So if there's something that happened in your personal life, professional life, if you saw, how unions worked and something interested you there that pushed you to register to law school, that would be a good way to demonstrate interest in that specific area of law. You don't have to have either practice a course or registered to a course to be eligible. It's more so what pushed you towards studying in that aspect of law. Next question. Some awards state that you need to renew. Some awards state that you need to renewal is possible, but we have to reapply if we still meet the eligibility. Is is it still guaranteed to get it upon reapplication? Good question. So awards that are renewable upon application, which they're fairly rare, but there are a few. Yes, it is possible that the reapplication does not occur if you do not meet the criteria. If you meet the criteria and you reapply, then you will be eligible to receive it. But it's important to maintain the criteria. Before we let Rashida and Miriam end the meeting, I see that there is one question here regarding credit cards. So the question is it more advisable to get a credit card, even if it has a lower limit, rather than a line of credit, since credit card is monthly interest?
So when it comes to credit card, we advise you to have it for a daily use. When it comes to the line of credit, yeah, it's a higher balance, but as you notice, it's a lower interest rate. When we talk about lower interest rate, we're talking about a 6.7, which is the prime right now, and it might drop based on the Bank of Canada. And when it comes to the credit card, you have to keep in mind that the interest rate on the purchase, it's 20.99, and on the cash advance, it's 22.99. So we don't recommend to have a credit card if you want to have a large amount taken out.
Thank you, Miriam. So with that said, I will continue for maybe another 5 minutes. Rashida, Miriam, you're free to stay. If ever there are questions that we can't get around to, I will be asking students to reach out to me, which I can then coordinate with you. But it's entirely up to you if you have appointments and things to continue. I understand. So feel free to either join or leave if you do have other business to attend.
Perfect. Thank you, Kevin. I'm going to close, but I think Rashid is going to stay on the call.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for your help, Miriam.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
All right, have a good one.
You too.
All right. So the next question, the CGPA on my student profile is lower than my CGPA calculated by OSAS. Is there a reason for this? In that, I would have to review your file. That's not a general question that I can answer just like that without reviewing your file. My email is in the group chat, kevin.nielsen@uottawa.ca. I would definitely recommend that you reach out and we can take a look at your file to see what's going on with that. I know OSAS is calculated on 4, which is then converted on a 90 percentile versus 100 percentile. So maybe that's where there's a discrepancy. But without seeing your file, I can't answer directly, and I would rather we resolve that and avoid any confusion later on. So definitely send me an email. So Rashida, I can confirm the chat box is closed. There's no more new questions being added, and there's no current question for Scotiabank. So if you have a business to attend to, you don't have to stay. Thank you very much for joining and giving the students all of that information. It's very appreciated that you took that time to help us with that.
I'm available anytime needed, so reach out to me whenever you need. Okay?
Perfect.
It was a pleasure for me as well. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Thank you, Rashid.
Bye-bye.
All right, so the last 4 questions. If we were given loans and grants via OSAP, do we have to state that on our financial questionnaire? And does this impact our eligibility for financial needs scholarships through the university? So yes, your loans and grants through OSAP is automatically inputted in the questionnaire. I don't believe there's actually a place for you to input that. That is information that is taken from your student account and inputted directly, just like tuition fees. And obviously, yes, it does have an impact on your eligibility in the sense that it is calculated as an income. And the way that we determine financial need, just like any budgeting, is that we deduce your expenses from your income, and that's what determines your financial need. So there is a possibility there that it can impact, but again, at the professional level, as you're all probably already aware, OSAP doesn't cover all of the fees. It's very, very rare for students in a professional program to not demonstrate financial need. If you are concerned about that, you can always reach out to me directly. I'm very transparent about the financial questionnaire. So if you're worried about not demonstrating financial need, definitely reach out and we can take a look at that. Next question. If you received your letter of offer after May 1st and therefore missed the deadline, totally valid. I get that concern. I've encountered that question a lot during the summer as the first year in this specific role. It is indicated to students when they submit an admission to the university, grants you immediate access to your U-Ozone, yes, to keep track of your admission process, but also to apply for scholarships and bursaries. Receiving an offer is not what determines if you can start applying for awards. You can start applying for awards and scholarships immediately as soon as your file is open. Scholarships for law students opened on March 1st and closed on May 1st. Unfortunately, you didn't have to wait for your admission of offer to come in. As soon as you're granted access to your U-Ozone account, you have access to apply for scholarships and bursaries. This should have been indicated in the correspondence you received. If not, we can definitely look over that. But I'm not familiar with any students who are not sent that communication immediately that you can apply for awards. If this is the case, send me an email and we can review the communications you received and see why you didn't receive that information for sure. Next question. If you apply earlier than the deadline for scholarships, does that increase your chances of getting a scholarship? Great question. The process is not reviewed until it closes. So no applications is distributed to the selection committees until the deadline date. So the way it works is that we gather all of the applications for 3 months for the fall, August 1st to October 31st. On October 31st, we send out all of the applications to the selection committees, and they also have 90 days to make the selection. So that's why we say scholarships and bursaries are not a direct form of funding. It's a long process. Although the University of Ottawa as a whole tends to push for selection committees to make their decisions prior to December 22nd. But it does happen that it can go until January. So just note that no application is reviewed. The date that you submit your application is not considered. It's really the criteria. The only thing that is reviewed and available for the selection committees is the information that you find in the criteria. Yeah. And last but not least, the last question, how soon after applying to awards and bursaries will we hear back? Yeah, so as I stated, it's a long process. So scholarships and bursaries are not reviewed until the deadline, at which point we send in all applications to the selection committee for review. And then, like I said, they have 90 days to submit their decision to us. In the last years, though, we have pushed really hard to get the decisions in before December 22nd. So it should be before the university closes for the holidays. So that concludes our presentation and Q&A. You'll find some of our email contacts in the chat. So mine, Rashid, and Miriam's. It's important to note that this was not a push for Scotiabank. If you have already a student line of credit with another bank, or if you want to shop around, you definitely can. We do not have a partnership with Scotiabank. It's just a proximity, so they are close to campus. And it is the bank for which students ask us the most questions about. But feel free to shop around the different banks. If you have any follow-up questions, you can send me an email that's listed in the chat, as well as we will be putting up the resources in Brightspace. So keep an eye out for that information. And I look forward to meeting you on campus, chatting, and just reassuring you and helping you out. So it's been a pleasure. If there's anything else, like I said, just send me an email. Hope everyone has a nice afternoon. Have a good day.